So, distinguished Senator Wadada, your personal explanation is very well noted. And yes, so, distinguished Senator Wadada, no, don't worry, continue. No, I'm saying that your personal explanation is noted, and we pray that something will be done soon to remedy the situation. Yes, distinguished Senator Omer first.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, my point of order is 42, personal explanation. If you permit me, I'll read. Mr. President, do I go ahead and read?
Please proceed.
Yes. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there may be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in detail to the President of the Senate when his leave to make it is sought. Mr. President, I've approached you this morning with the details of my point of order on personal explanation. With leave, do I proceed?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, yesterday, this Senate approved the President's request for approval for the borrowing plan for 2025-2026 and going forward. In that request, Mr. President, one critical thing that I've always canvassed for in this Senate, with motions upon motions, was the need to reconstruct the Eastern Rail Line by the federal government of Nigeria. I recall that in one occasion, 35 senators in this chamber co-sponsored one of such motions. And Mr. President, in each occasion, you have always expressed the need to consider the motion and the prayers. And the prayers have always been approved. Mr. President, I also recall that in 2025, when the President submitted his budget proposals to this Senate, during the second reading of that budget, I raised an observation that the Eastern Rail Line was not included in the legacy projects that the President will execute. I recall that the DSP presiding that they told me to wait for the breakdown. And when the breakdown is released, that I can now make a case. Well, the budget was discussed and referred to the committee. On the day the budget was to be passed, during the closed-door session, I raised the same issue, that the Eastern Rail Line was not accommodated in the 2025 budget. You magnanimously approved that I should raise it when we reverted to plenary, that even though it was for the budget to be passed, which will not allow for any debate, they would like me to raise the same issue. I did during the plenary by magnanimity, and you sitting there promised that there was merit in that agitation or in that observation. You promised that you will take it up with Mr. President along with the leadership so that this Eastern Rail Line will be addressed once and for all. I was just for happy, Mr. President, that when the request for $21 billion loan was submitted to the Senate, the Eastern Rail Line was now accommodated. $3 billion was provided for the reconstruction of the Eastern Rail Line. And yesterday, the Senate during the session, approved the request. It now paves way for that Eastern Rail Line to be reconstructed. I feel so happy about this because I've always canvassed here that anything we shall do in Nigeria, we should carry parts of Nigeria along. This Eastern Rail Line that has now the prospect of being reconstructed will be a very good development, particularly in line with the sentiments of the people of the Southeast Zone. So on this note, I want to thank Mr. President, who has promised that he will do this during his visit to the Southeast in January 4th precisely. Our stakeholders raised the same issue with him, and he promised that he will address it. So in keeping with this promise, this cry of the people of this zone, and indeed all the users of the Eastern Rail Corridor, starting from to Meduguri, including Bauchi, everywhere, they are now happy that this is going to be done. So on this note, I thank Mr. President, and also thank you, Mr. Senate President, for joining me in leading this struggle on behalf of the people using this corridor. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Yes, I believe strongly that the voice of the people is the voice of God. God appreciates the efforts of the President, and I thank you for thanking him. I'm particularly coming from you, because sometimes when I look at television, I see some incoming members of the ADC, and I know that I saw you at the meeting once or twice. So if ADC is already appreciating the work of President Tinubu, it shows that Nigeria has come of age, where good works have no political boundaries. So on behalf of the 10th Senate, I appreciate you. I appreciate your members of the ADC who are appreciating the president. I've excited about the president, and of course we in the APC, we're equally happy with the president and what he's doing. So I'll convey your message of thanks to him. Yes. I hope you are not going to answer the Senate President. I think you go ahead.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central of Bauchi State. Mr. President, I come by Order 42 and by the leave of the Senate President. I read, by the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there will be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward.
Senator Ningi, your mic is bad?
42.
Is your mic bad?
It's on.
Your microphone.
This is my seat? No. Oh, okay. That's my seat. It's my neighbor. Oh, good neighborliness. So the Senate,
that house,
the terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in detail to the Senate President when he leaves to make it a thought. Mr. President, I discussed this morning with you about the very elaborate, powerful performance of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Yesterday's semi-final against the Bayana of South Africa. Mr. President, after doom and gloom over the death of 3 prominent Nigerians, beginning with the late General Buhari, the late Dantata, and the late Oba Adetona, this performance of these brilliant girls from Nigeria have spiced our lives, have sweetened our lives. They have brought almost all Nigerians on the same pedestal. Therefore, it is my duty as the chairman on sports to most profoundly thank the government of the president of the country for equipping the girls and giving them the wherewithal in terms of funding to be able to perform this feat. It is important that at this juncture to ask for the prayers of Nigeria. These girls are gunning for the 10th title in Africa. They are the most indomitable team, and therefore they have not met so far. We have tried to, since 2019, to recapture the African championship, but we have failed this fight the last 9 years. I thought Saturday will be an opportunity for the girls to capture this 10th title in Africa, which is very unprecedented. The next country that captured this tournament, they have only two times. That was South Africa. Ghana won, South Africa won, and therefore this is an unprecedented feat. And I thought, Mr. President, I will use this opportunity to call for prayers for these girls, because they have exhibited an uncommon attitude. They have exhibited an uncommon discipline, especially at this time. Nigeria needs that trophy to be able to bring us together as a country that we're all proud of. Mr. President, that is my move. Also to say, the Deputy Senate President Club has also gained promotion. And by your leave, we want to congratulate Barrow FC, that is Deputy Senate President, for being promoted from the local league to Premier League, and the Nigerian first two.
Please restrict yourself to the issue of WAFCON. The women.
Good neighborliness, sir.
Don't allow any negative influence. But otherwise, I'll mention girls like Pabio FC that defeated Gateway Games of Ogun State by 3-0 just last week. So don't go there. Don't go there. But your point of order is noted. Let me join you, distinguished Senator Nengi, to congratulate our girls for the very scintillating performance that led to their qualifying for the finals of the African Women's Championship in football. Indeed, it was one of the very rare moments that I watched football. I was very excited because you know how it is with international competitions. People hardly give Nigeria a chance. So when that golden goal came from outside the 18, and there was a lot of confusion, the goal just went on its own, guided by the angels until it entered inside. I was very excited. Indeed, both the Nigerian team and the South African team, all of them were confused. So I know that God will guide them as they play the finals. And like you suggested, it will be good for Barrow FC and God will Barrow FC to lead a strong delegation for the best finals. This is something under you as chairman of sports. You were determined, and you told me that you were for many years in charge of the Hockey Federation of Nigeria, and that your passion for sports will change the dynamics of sports in Nigeria. So this is already happening. So I must congratulate you as chairman of the Senate Committee.
I just wish to add, I hope the President and Commander-in-Chief will be able to make you the head of delegation to Morocco on Saturday. I so pray.
The Commander-in-Chief cannot be directed. He's in charge. But your prayer is noted. Thank you so much, and congratulations to Nigerians. Yes. Any further? Otherwise, I have a very important assignment to perform now. But is there any other point of order? No. This is strange and interesting. Okay, so distinguished colleagues, I'll just I'll handle it.
Take your seat, please.
Distinguished colleagues, for the correspondence from Mr. President's request for confirmation of appointment of a commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, in accordance with the provisions of Section 2(1) of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission Act 2022, I'm pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of Professor Yusuf Mohammed Yusuf as Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Distinguished Senate President, distinguished Senators, Professor Yusuf Mohammed Yusuf is to replace Professor Fatima Al-Kali, whose nomination was earlier presented through my letter dated 2nd June 2025, copy attached, but did not appear for screening and for confirmation by the Senate. Whilst I hope that the Senate will consider and confirm the nomination of Professor Yusuf Mohammed Yusuf in an expeditious manner, please accept, distinguished Senate Presidents and distinguished Senators, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is immediately referred to the Committee on Judicial, Human Rights and Legal Matters to revert to the Senate as soon as practicable. Now, for one of the most important items of the day, letter of resignation and notice of defection. Letter of resignation and notice of resignation. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio GCN. I know that Olalere would not like this one. That's why he's trying to talk to Sita. I write to formally notify you in line with the provisions of Section 40 and the proviso to Section 68, subsection 1G of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, of my resignation from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and my defection to the All Progressives Congress. This decision, though deeply considered, has become imperative in view of the prevailing political developments both in my constituency and within the party structure, which has been fractured beyond redemption. It is taken in the overall interest of my people to continue to provide effective representation and in accordance with my constitutional right to freedom of association. I sincerely thank the People's Democratic Party for the platform it provided when it was together to serve the good people of Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District. I also extend my gratitude to my colleagues, party leaders and supporters who stood by me throughout my time in the party. Kindly accept this letter as formal notification for the records, and please do extend the necessary legislative recognition and courtesies due me through this development. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. Yours faithfully, Senator Anyeka Mbasi, PhD. So, distinguished Senator Mangunu, we must extend all courtesies to him, including sitting arrangement, so that he has depleted the rank and file of the left-hand side to populate the right-hand side. Leader of the Senate, somebody has just joined you from the People's Democratic Party. So engineers, they should allow you to listen. You have just gained another member. You read it? I just read the letter, but I know Senator Eze was distracting you. So Senator Anek Mbasi is now a member of the APC. I welcome him with open arms. Leader of the Senate, let me finish before you answer, because they are all coming to you. They love the president, they love the party, and they love the government. So the second letter, the second letter is titled Adaramodo, you are already with us in APC. You don't need to move. So sit. Senator Alfasi. No, okay, but I'll come to that. Now, this second letter is dated, the earth has moved. I don't know where this really, maybe it's telling the truth. I write with a deep sense of responsibility to inform the President of the Senate of my political realignment from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. This development has come after a range of consultations with my constituents following the switch of even my state governor, Pastor Omoeno, to the APC, and the need to strengthen collaborations to develop my senatorial district and the larger Akwa Ibom state. I thank the People's Democratic Party, though fractured, for providing a power valve for me over the years to serve my people in Akwa Ibom state in several capacities. I will certainly recall my relationship with the party and my humble contributions within my own space to its near apotheosis before a set of complications precipitated its descent. This English is good. Politics is a game of interest, and if I may add, circumstances. The current division in the People's Democratic Party leaves me with no other option than to seek an alternative platform to continue to serve the good people of my constituency and Nigeria as a whole. Despite the switch, I look forward to working with my new party, party men and women in the All Progressives Congress, and indeed the Senate, as well as well-meaning Nigerians in the pursuit of ideals that have always inspired my political odyssey. Within the bigger picture of humanism, I'm reading what is here, constitutionalism, and national interests. Perhaps it should be pointed out that the presence of the President of the Senate, His Excellency Senator Godswill Oboro-Kwabio GCON, my State Governor, His Excellency Pastor Omoeno, PhD, and all my Akwa Ibom National Assembly colleagues, among other influential personalities and critical socio-political institutions in my state, in the All Progressives Congress marks in itself a watershed support instrument for the further realization of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, while also pushing the interests of Akwa Ibom people through Governor Omoeno's Arise agenda. Indeed, in Akwa Ibom said, the earth has moved. With the convergence of principal political players in Akwa Ibom said, on the APC platform, my people have high hopes of commensurate reward system from the APC power matrix for my state, which historically have been rooted in another political leaning. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Uncommon Senate President. Long live the All Progressives Congress. Long live Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Sincerely, Senator Ekong Samson, PhD. He has just moved. That is the second one. That is the second one. It's not my English. He's a writer. The same Senator Ekong Samson, I hope he's here. Is he here? You can just you can step forward and take about leader of the Senate. please do receive them, because I'm dealing with Senator Nengi. I'm depleting your rank and file. Very soon you have no neighbor. So on behalf of, just before the point of order, on behalf of the All Progressive Congress, I want to sincerely welcome our colleagues. Thank you to the All Progressives Congress, and to note that yes, indeed, this cannot be the end. Yes.
Distinguished senators, take your seats. Take your seats.
Distinguished colleague, please resume your seat.
Very distinguished senators, I know that Well, because of the Senator Adaramodu, we have another very important thing to do here. With a great sense of humility, I'm very delighted to inform the Nigerian Senate and the public that indeed the earth has moved. Senator Mbigi, are you hearing me? This is another letter addressed to His Excellency the Senate President. Notification of defection. I write to notify Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, and the Senate with great enthusiasm to express my keen interest and my decision to join the All Progressive Congress. As a passionate ranking senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I firmly believe in the principles and values that the All Progressive Congress oppose, and I am eager to actively contribute to the betterment of our dear country and my constituents. And of course, the incoming victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, come 2027. For some time now, I have closely followed the renewed hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and I've been very impressed by the President's commitment and dedication to the implementation of the renewed hope agenda. The agenda emphasizes on inclusivity, environmental sustainability, education, and social welfare that resonate deeply with my personal beliefs. No weapon fashioned against this microphone shall prosper. The agenda emphasizes on distinguished colleagues, Deputy Senate President, Leader of the Senate. There is an appeal here that in view of what is happening now, that you may wish to move for a relevant section of our rules to just permit the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress to step into the chambers as a stranger for a few minutes. So move a motion to that effect.
Thank you, Mr. President, and the distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, aware of the importance of what is going on to the APC as a ruling party, and equally aware of the desire of some of our colleagues in the House of Representatives who are members of APC, who would also like to be a part of it, all led by the National Secretary of APC. I'm standing to move that the relevant provisions of Order 12 on floor privileges be suspended to enable us admit strangers into the chamber. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Deputy Senate President. No, this is not a floor privilege. You don't bring in the minorities because they may not be happy. Inside their heart, they may be weeping. So please second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Barrow Jibril, I stand to second the motion.
Thank you.
Ably moved by the leader of the Senate. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support that we allow strangers briefly into the chambers to complete this ritual, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. just remain. The ayes have it. So the National Secretary of the APC, Sergeant at Arms, you can lead the National Secretary and some members of the House of Representatives who are interested in shaking hands and a picture college with the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to step into the chambers. Distinguished colleagues, with humility, I welcome distinguished Senator Adebola Bashir, the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, and our colleagues from the House of Representatives, including one of the youngest members of this House, the young Akala, leading his colleagues to join us. And of course, I've noticed the state chairman of the APC from Osun State, out of excitement, decided to fly in just for this exercise. So you are all welcome, and I recognize all of you. So in that case, I won't go too much into the letters because for the necessary speed, but the summary of it is that the writer has actively participated in various community-driven initiatives, social campaigns, political campaigns, and public awareness events that align with the core values of the All Progressive Congress. These experiences have fueled his decision to join like-minded individuals and elected representatives to drive positive change at both the local, state, and national levels. I promised to bring my wealth of experience to bear at ensuring the victory of the APC from top to bottom. This first letter is signed by distinguished Senator Francis Father Honsi, OFR. Distinguished Senator Father Honsi, OFR. Distinguished Senator Ani, please, this is a very important thing. Because as I speak, my voice is shaking.
Senator Wadada, distinguished Senator Ali, resume your seats.
Please. The whip has spoken. Distinguished Senator Father Honsi, but let's not finish. From Osun State of Nigeria, we have another resignation from the People's Democratic Party. With deep hearts, I submit my resignation as a member of the People's Democratic Party, effective immediately. This decision has not been taken lightly, but I feel compelled to do so due to the unresolved internal crisis, various litigations and cases, and lack of leadership at the apex of the People's Democratic Party. These issues have led to widespread disaffection and mistrust among members, making it very challenging for me and for all of us to effectively serve our constituents. The people of my hometown, my senatorial district, and the nation at large cry out for dividends of democracy, infrastructural development, education and good health, and of course employment opportunities, which today the fractured People's Democratic Party cannot provide. As a senator, I am committed to representing the interests of my people, but I can no longer do so under the current circumstances of violence, mistrust, and lack of leadership. Reasons for my resignation: unresolved internal crisis, the party's inability to address internal conflicts, which has created divisions, mistrust among all and sundry. Litigation, the numerous court cases involving party members have tarnished the party's image, distracted its core mission, and fractured the umbrella. Lack of leadership. The absence of effective leadership has hindered the party's ability to articulate and pursue a clear vision. Factionalization of the party. Factions within the party are key issues leading to disputes and conflicts in the PDP. Also, signs of competing interests, leadership struggles, and the factionalized has weakened the entire party structure. I therefore state, that is the conclusion, I therefore state categorically that I am joining the people, the progressives, the ruling party in Nigeria, the All Progressives Congress, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, which I am proud to represent henceforth from Osun Central Senatorial District in the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I want to thank you for your understanding. Signed, Distinguished Senator Olubiyi Oluwole Fadeyi, LLM, ABS, DSC, Senator representing Osun Central Senatorial District of Osun State. Leader of the Senate, with this letter and without much ado, I want to congratulate the representatives of the All Progressives Party, our very distinguished Senator Bashir, the National Secretary, for what has happened here. Before you came, I read out numerous letters from the opposition joining the APC. And we did our best to represent you by receiving them from the chair of the Senate President. May I now invite you to join us in the Fulton College. And distinguished APC leader of the Senate, can you please bring your people forward so that they can go to the right place? One of the founders of the APC, distinguished Senator Ngige, former governor of Anambra State, former minister, and all that, is also in the gallery. He's right inside the chambers to receive all these people. Congratulations to the incoming APC senators, and congratulations to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Call let me the sweet Senator, may please go back to your seat. You are not allowed to come here. Where is Wadada? Senator Wadada. Senator Wadada. Moving from seat to seat will not help you here. The sweet Senator Ngige. Senator Ngige, GSM, please come and join us to take picture. Leave Wadada alone. Take your seats. Take your seats. Defection is over.
Is the captain? Another is the captain already.
Take your seats.
Which party are you? Which party are you? Abeg, come and start.
No, they wait. Already? Yes.
Members of the House of Reps, that our strangers, they are taking pictures.
I'm taking pictures.
They are taking pictures. Please take your exit.
We have been on this for 30 minutes.
Don't overstay your welcome.
Take your
Don't
seats.
overstay
Take
your
your
welcome.
seats.
Honorable members of the House of Reps, take your pictures quickly. And distinguished senators, resume your seats. Don't overstay your welcome.
Senator Yayi, let's start this thing now.
You can now take your seats. You can now take your seats. Senator Fade, former PDP, you can take your seat. Senator Wadada, take your seat. We don't even know where you belong.
The chamber is ready, sir.
Restore order. The dignity of the chambers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to move that Order 12 be fully restored to enable us proceed with the our proceedings for today. I so move.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I like to second the motion that the House be called to order. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the leader has moved a motion and seconded by the minority leader that the sanctity of the chambers be restored immediately to enable all strangers to depart so that we continue with the business of the day. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I want to state once again that this is democracy at work. And let me also say, by way of emphasis, that part of the condition for registration of any political party in our country is that no party shall be registered without a commitment that its doors shall be open for membership, and that the party shall not discriminate against any intending member on the basis of religion or place of origin or any other reason or creed. The APC, as a registered political party in the country, complying with that law, has left its doors open to all intending members and stakeholders in Nigeria who wish to join the party. And I just want to congratulate you, Mr. President, as the leader of the party in the South-South and also in Akwa Ibom, that the governor of the state and the two other senators, as well as your House of Reps members, have come all under the real umbrella and canopy of the APC. I also want to congratulate our party and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is the leader of the party, that Osun State has also produced two senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria out of the three senators, as well as members of House of Reps joining the APC. For us, this is not about number. It is about further reminding us that we have a very serious job to do, and the fact that stakeholders within and outside of Nigeria remain committed to the ideals of the party. We realize the implications of this and the consequences of this development, and the party will continue to re-engineer its own philosophy and its activities, and do everything possible to ensure that we take Nigeria to the next level. Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues, members of APC, I just want to congratulate you all again and say that we are not taking this for granted. And having said that, Mr. President, I want to say that the first order of the day is a motion standing in my name on the demise of the former President of Nigeria, His Excellency General Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. And Mr. President, with your permission, I wish to move the motion.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Just allow the, you have already, yes, go ahead, proceed.
Mr. President and very distinguished colleagues, demise of General Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, former President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Senate notes with grief that as the nation mourns the loss
President Buhari attended then in his capacity as the military governor of Northeastern State. We gathered in one of the lecture theaters of Faculty of Engineering, ABU Zaria. And he came to address us. He came in full military regalia as a lieutenant colonel. Very young, smart, very, very extremely thin, tall young man as the governor of Northern Nigeria. And listen to us. I don't know whether there's anybody there at that time, but I was a young man even that time, but I was a student in ABU. Mr. President, he listened to, he gave us all the time to air our views. And we raised a lot of issues, a lot of requests. You know, students were very tough. After listening to us, the man surprised all of us. I said, yes, I've listened to you, but I've just been appointed as the governor of Northeast. And given my age, and given the fact that I've just gone to the office, for now, all I want to request from you is to pray for me, for Allah to guide me right in running the affairs of this very vast state. Pray for me. I will not be able to answer all your questions. There are so many, but I will do my best. But pray for me, for Allah to guide me. From that day, it struck me, a man of Asa. This was a man of God. As a military man, he behaved like somebody right from the Al-Majiri school. It was very interesting and very, very impressive to all of us. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but Mr. President, I want to give two additional instances, very briefly. In the year 2000, I was a Minister of State for Power and Steel, and I went to Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire for a program. In the evening, I heard that the former president of Nigeria, Buhari, was in the same hotel. And I went to pay my respect to him in the evening after Isha, around 8:30 or 9. And I met him and I asked him, what brought you, sir? He said, he just came, he came here, he went this morning by road to Ouagadougou to attend the meeting of West African pastoralists.
to say one or two things. So just 10 seconds, then you stop.
My greatest honor, sir, was when President Buhari sent for me and asked me to fly official aircraft to Turkey to represent him before the president of Turkey. So once upon a time, I went to Turkey as if I was president of Nigeria. I mean, coming from my background, coming from that little village that I come from, President Buhari gave me a rare privilege, to exhibit whatever it is he thought I was capable of doing. May God in his infinite mercy forgive him any sin he might have committed as a human being and grant him a spacious space in paradise. Amen.
Senator Mangunu.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Manguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Before I make my contribution with regard to the subject matter under discussion, I want to bring to the attention of the Senate that General Buratai is a Muslim, not a Christian, because Senator Adams Oshomole, in the course of his discussion, doubted whether he's a Muslim or a Christian. So, having known him to be a Muslim, I want to tell the Senate that he's a Muslim, not a Christian. Having said that, Mr. President, distinguished senators, with regard to my contribution on this subject matter, General Buhari, the late former president, was not corrupt and remained incorruptible throughout his lifetime. Mr. President, I have one encounter with the late president, which clearly showed to me that he was not corrupt. As Chief Whip of the House of Representatives then, we were invited for a dinner to the villa with the late president. After the dinner, the Kanuris and the Fulanis, we used to joke amongst ourselves. I now told him, as a joke, jokingly, so that it should not be misinterpreted, that Mr. President, usually when we come to the villa and take dinner, we don't go back empty-handed. We leave with brown envelopes. His response to me was, the beauty of this place, that is the villa, is that you also ate pre-put. I also ate pre-put. You go, I'm not going to give you any envelope because I would not like to go to Kirikiri again. So this is a clear manifestation of the fact that the late president is not corrupt and remain incorruptible throughout his lifetime. And for the press, please, I'm not saying that when we are invited to dinner, we are giving brown envelopes. I said so that the Kanuris and the Fulanis, we used to joke at each other. That's why I told Mr. President that the late president that we used to go out with envelopes, because I know he is not corrupt and he will never agree to that, so that it should not be misinterpreted in any way. Thank you.
You can be around by phone. Let me say, distinguished Chief Whip, we should not bring any controversial. Sit down. We shouldn't add any controversial thing. Just 1 minute. You know why I'm saying that? Because when you mentioned that you asked him for a brown envelope, you were asking for transport, not corruption. So, and then you said that he did not give you the brown envelope. So any day you come to me and I don't give you a brown envelope, don't think that I'm only following General Buhari's idea of corruption. So let me, Senator Yari, you speak briefly, and after that, the man who worked very closely with the former president, the immediate past Senate President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this privilege. Mr. President, let me use this opportunity to thank you and also to thank the Senate for this session. And a big thanks goes to President for doing a wonderful job for us to find time to give that state funeral to his friend and a very good ally. Mr. President, I'll not say anything new, but I'll fall in line with the Senate leader, Deputy Senate President, and Goje. If we're going to be given time to next tomorrow, we'll only say one thing about Buhari: integrity, non-corrupt person, and God-fearing. Mr. President, I will only say one scenario. In 2000, I was the party secretary in my state, ANPP, and one among 7 who went to ask President to come and contest election in Kaduna, he said he's not interested. We did not relent. We continue pursuing him to come and join politics as a general, but the answer remained one. I can remember we did one in Daura, 2 in Kaduna, but finally we had to go through a friend of his, that is late A.B.M. Mukhtar. May his soul rest in peace. Buhari gave us appointment in 2000 November. He said, I can see a seasonal politician, one like Sulehamma, and I can see Najatu, I can see a young man and young women, all calling for me to come and contest election. But do you know why I cannot join politics? He said it's for one reason. One reason that I cannot come to join politics is in Africa of today, usually there's no election. So you have to take it as it is. If you have a sitting president who won't go back for the second term, of course, it's like automatic. So, and I knew people will love someone like me to join politics because they have confidence in me. But that's not the issue. The issue is I may win election. And if I may win that election and I was denied, the masses will come out to the streets, protest, and government would not take it light with them. Eventually, some of them will find themselves in grave. So for that reason, I cannot and I will not. He is my friend. We have all the military kind of discipline. So therefore, gentlemen, Suleimana and others, please give me a break. So until 2001, he said a group of Malams and other clerics met him and said, if people are asking you to come and do something and you deny them, there may be a time where God will put it in your heart that you want to do it, and they will turn their back to you, against you one day. So you have to answer this call. Then he has not forgotten he someone else and said today, because of so many calls, he now agree that he is going to join politics. But you should understand one thing. Politics cannot go on without funding. As he is relying on his pension and no more. So if any other person looking at, maybe he's there because he has been chairman PTF, he has anything but what he's going to pay his family. The point I'm trying to put in here is what Goje says. One, people are calling you to come and contest, but you are thinking of your people, that they should not be killed so that the blood of them will be on you. So automatically, all we are going to say here in a long time, on a short time, Buhari is a God-fearing person. What all we shall do is to continue praying for him. May Almighty God shall accept him to his Jannah, and may he forgive him all his shortcomings. And for us sitting down here, we should think of more especially those that are there, where Mr. President is holding his right hand and looking at what's going on to his friend. Not that each and every one of us, one day, long, short, medium term, we are going to be there. So all our action should work towards how are we going to get there peacefully. Today Buhari is there, nobody will be there with him except him and his good deeds. So we should do all good for our country, for ourselves, for our families, for our responsibility given to us by God. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you, Mr. President.
I think you have captured it all. That is there alone now. He didn't carry anything along. No properties, no wife, nothing. Only good deeds that he left behind. Distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I'm Ahmed Lawan, I represent Yobe North. Mr. President, thank you very much for this privilege to contribute to the tribute to the late former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. President, like the previous speakers, let me commend His Excellency, very distinguished President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for ensuring a very elaborate, very befitting state burial for the late former president. Mr. President, I must also commend you. I listened to your speech at the enlarged Federal Executive Council meeting. You reflected our sentiments, you reflected our emotions. Mr. President, like we have mentioned before you called me, that I worked very closely with late former president. And that is true. And that is going to be the main focus of my tribute. You recall, Mr. President, because you are with people. Sometimes you get unintended consequences. That is the time when the president needs everybody, not people to start running away. For how long? So we continue to give all the support that we need to give the present leadership of the country, because I believe that we will soon come to the end of the issues that today afflict us. May the soul of the late former president rest in perfect peace in Al-Jannah al-Firdaus. Surely Nigeria and indeed Africa has lost a gem, a rare gem. He was a man of God, like everybody said, a man of integrity, is to say the least, and we believe in him. By the grace of God, at the end of the tenure of this administration, we would be also celebrating our president and possibly working for better Nigeria and getting the president back to continue to ensure that he makes Nigeria the greatest that he thinks and we want and the Nigerians need. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, for all of us who listen to the Senate President Emeritus, he has enumerated most of the achievements of the 9 Senates under his leadership, and he even documented some of them, and so we have a template to pursue to beat that record that you were able to set. And I must also commend you that under your leadership, that was a time that the Senate enjoyed very cordial relationship with the presidency, to a point where even in terms of constituency projects, they were funded 100%. And that showed the fact that you really established a good relationship. Yes, when you hear about stories of rubber stamp, that should not worry you, because people do not understand that what we give to senators here, we give them the order book. We give them the rules of the Senate after they are sworn in. We don't, and then the Nigerian Constitution, we don't give them boxing gloves. So nobody is expected to come here and fight with the executive arm of government. We are expected to come here, scrutinize, oversight, and then bring out, distill, like we did with the tax reforms, and bring out provisions that will best suit Nigeria. And I think that's what you were doing. So discard all those stories of rubber stamp. And I commend you, particularly restoring the idea of ensuring that Nigerian budget was passed on time. If you notice, when we were together in the 8th Senate, we used to keep budget up to July. So without passing the budget by July, because there was so much tension and conflict with the leadership of the National Assembly. But when you came in, all that became a thing of the past. We started having budget on time, and by January, the budget will kick off, so it could end in December. So we are keeping to that, and this 10th Senate has been alive to that responsibility so far, and I believe we will keep going for the benefit of Nigerian people. Thank you for your tribute. May so rest in peace. Let me add a voice before I briefly step aside. Deputy Senate President, you were there in the chambers when the President had a valedictory session for late President Muhammadu Buhari. What we are doing today, Nigerians may not understand. We started by adjourning the National Assembly for 1 week, particularly the Senate for a week, in his honor. We said that he has served Nigeria, he woke up Nigeria, Nigeria was part of him, he grew up serving Nigeria from his youthful days to his adult years. And so on his demise, we immediately closed the activities of the plenary and the National Assembly for 1 week in order to honor him. We even had to postpone the constitutional sitting of the Northwest Zone to enable all our colleagues in the Northwest Zone to participate in the various ceremonies. And then today, we felt that we should use today again to commend the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the very wonderful tone setting of how to honor a leader who has served the country well. And the whole country is very proud of what this administration has done in the way and manner President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was honored and was buried. And you can see, even from President Buhari's President Buhari was honored and buried. And distinguished Senator Nengi, you also observed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be forgotten for what he did during the burial ceremonies of President Muhammadu Buhari. So, in the Senate, we are also determined to ensure that in our books, the record says that we also had this valedictory, despite all said and done, to record some of the good deeds that a man did while he was alive. I want to mention one that I forgot. Senator Oshomole, I think maybe he has stepped out briefly. Yes, there was something that Senator Oshomole said. That aspect of him, we all talk about integrity, but there was an aspect of President Buhari that Nigerians did not know, and that was the aspect of his compassion. I was in his office one day, and he wanted to assign a minister to another ministry. So he showed me the copy of the letter, and then he now said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted this letter to go out tomorrow, but tomorrow is Friday. I don't know whether he will like it. I don't want to disappoint his family. I don't want them to be sad. Let them have a beautiful weekend. I would rather give this letter on Tuesday." So he withdrew the letter from my hand. When I stepped out of the place, I started thinking, this is a man who is thinking of the children of the minister, and the minister, the wife, and the feelings. Why would, before a man can consider the happiness of a family, just a letter, it wasn't a letter of sack, it was just a letter of reposting. But Muhammadu Buhari was that kind of person who thought of the happiness of that family. And when he was a head of state, the world saw him as very hard with war against the discipline. But there was a woman that was arrested in Lagos as CMS. And that woman that was arrested as CMS was found selling things at an unauthorized place. So members of Y were against indiscipline, arrested the woman. The woman had a toddler. So she was weeping and weeping and weeping, and they took her and said they wanted to go, and at that time it was direct imprisonment with small tribunals here and there. Somehow, one of the aides of the late President Muhammadu Buhari mentioned to him what had happened. He sent for that woman, said they should go and bring the woman with a toddler. He asked the woman, "Why were you selling there?" The woman said she was a widow, talked and talked. And he said, "Okay, how many children do you have?" The woman said 3. He said, "Where are they?" He said, "They are two in Mushi." He said, "No." He ordered immediately that the children should be registered in school, paid school fees for those children, and registered the woman in a cooperative, and provided funds for the woman to sell in a proper market. And so the woman did not go to prison for disobeying the law. And so stories like that abound in the country, but they are untold. Because like you know, when it comes to leaders and leadership, it is the bad story that sells. The good stories are never told. When I made my funeral oration, I did not have time to elaborate on all these things. But that was not a man of integrity alone, it was also a man of great compassion. And I'm surprised that Senator Adams Oshomole was able to pick that aspect of his compassionate life today. by considering others whilst taking decisions that affected individuals. May his soul rest in peace. Senator Dixon.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and my dear colleagues. Henry Siraki Dixon, Bayelsa West. I'll be very brief. But it's a great honor, Mr. President, that you have recognized me to say a word or two about our departed former president, former head of state and former president. In these chambers, looking around, I was the only governor in an opposition party when Buhari was elected and became president of Nigeria 2015. So it's appropriate that you have recognized me to say a thing or two. I would like to begin by, on behalf of my constituents, join all of us in this Senate, the leadership of this Senate, and the President of our country to condole with the entire country, the family, and the Daura Emirate, of which I'm also proposed to be holder of an eminent title. I will still visit there to condole our father, His Highness the Emir, and the Emirate Council. I want to condole all for the irreparable loss that our country has suffered on account of the passing of our dear President and former head of state. There are very few Nigerians who had the privilege and the honor and the mercy and grace that God gave to Buhari to lead and serve a great nation like Nigeria, firstly as head of state, quite a young age, and then later elected democratic president twice, and he served for the full 8-year tenure and retired back home. Very few Nigerians. It's a great honor that God gave him. So our country has been in mourning. I'd like to join you and join all of us in our country by commending the president who led the entirety of the federal government in paying very well-deserved respects to our departed president. And by so doing, he has, I believe, set a standard that should be on record as the basic national minimum. I say this because regrettably, our gentleman president, eminent Nigerian leader, and elected president, Alhaji Shehu Shagari, never enjoyed that honor and privilege. We should not go back there again. So I believe that what President Tinubu has done, for which we all commend him, should be recorded as the basic national minimum for our leaders who have served and done their best. We may disagree with their policies, we may even disagree with their politics, which by the very nature of our partisanship, we get involved in once in a while. But we should respect the fact of their service. So the president has done the right thing, and it should be treated as a standard moving forward. Mr. President, there's no doubt that President Buhari lived a life of service. We may disagree with his politics and his policies. I myself disagreed with a number of his policies. When CJN Ononge was removed in the way and manner he did, I assembled all South governors and took a position. President Buhari never ordered any vindictive steps to be taken against us, or me who led them. I disagreed with President Buhari in his proposal for 3% for host communities instead of the 5% that we requested. I disagreed with him when he tried to working with then Emefiele CBN governor, did what they did on the currency review exercise that they did. And I also disagreed on his failure to restructure the country. But Buhari, at all of our meetings, showed innate decency and discipline, time consciousness, and discipline and courtesy, in spite of his high position and the age difference. Treated all of us opposition governors with courtesy, with respect, and always making his case. For example, when 2015 he took over and the country went into a terrible economic recession, President Buhari could have played politics by granting only bailout funds only to APC-controlled states controlled by his party. And I was told that he came under quite some pressure to do so. But he rejected it. I think the other governor who was there on that, or Governor Shomole is here. All the governors of all states, he made sure that whatever was due their states was approved and was given to them. He did not discriminate between PDP states or opposition-controlled states and states controlled by his party. And we commend him for that. Most Nigerians don't know the seriousness of the economic situation that this country went through from 2015 till about 2020 when the recession ended. It was President Buhari and leading his economic team, chaired by the Vice President, Professor Oshibanjo, Chairman of the National Economic Council, who devised various ways to raise funds with the support of the National Assembly to bail out states. Otherwise, states would have collapsed. This country would have been in thorough mess. I thanked him for it, and I thought today I should put that on record. He did well. And speaking personally, 2015, when I was going for my re-election, President Buhari called me and said, Governor Dixon, don't worry. I've called the INEC, I've called the Army Chief of Staff and the Police IG and the DGSS. I've given them instructions that they must tell their officers and men to do the right thing. When he did so, he called again. When we met, he told me again, said, Governor, I've already done so. Go and do your campaigns. I've been a victim of electoral malpractices in this country. And as president, I don't want to preside over Nigeria and cheat people of their electoral victory. I thanked him. When I got home and campaigned, the elections came. That was the toughest election we have seen in our states, and I don't think there's any state that has seen that kind of election. Although the officials did not quite adhere to the instruction, I was confident, I was happy that my president was proactive and had given instructions, even though they did not obey. They did not obey. After the elections and I won, he congratulated.
I think you,
so let me round up.
Senator Dixon, please confine yourself to the subject of discussion.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm
speaking to his leadership. I'm speaking to his leadership. 2020, when my tenure ended, I know why you are interjecting, because you know what your party did. There was a concerted effort to rig me out again in our party. 2020.
Leader, you are not listening to him. You heard what he's saying. No point of order.
President Buhari, to his credit, even when we went to the Supreme Court, to his credit, President Buhari, whose advance team was already in Bayelsa for the inauguration of the APC candidate that had been declared officially, he never called the Supreme Court to reverse or to throw away our case. Following that, less than 24 hours, he was to go. His advance team was there. The Supreme Court gave a judgment directing that his own candidate of his party was disqualified. President Buhari obeyed, congratulated us, and when he met the governor, only cracked a joke. So you and your boss own the judiciary more than me. He laughed. So that was the basic decency of the man. So it's a trying moment. We want to commend his family for producing him and our country. We mourn his passing and we pray that God Almighty will overlook his shortcomings as a human and grant his soul eternal rest. In him there was basic decency. Basic decency.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You are very lucky. The leader did not notice your comment. He veered off and went into politics. And so you are lucky. He will have come under 52-4 to say you are veered. But you are very lucky he didn't get you. Thank you very much for your contribution. Senator Mohammed Nduzi.
Thank you, Mr. President, my respected colleagues. I remain Nduza Mutar Mohammed representing Katsina South. I am glad to have this very important opportunity since the late president is from Katsina, and I want to sincerely appreciate the leadership of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for giving the late President Muhammadu Buhari a befitting burial, and by extension the leadership of the National Assembly for suspending all the plenary for 7 working days to honor the late President, and by extension also to sincerely appreciate the effort made by the Vice President and the Governor of Katsina State. Historically, I want to make it clear to the world that the journey of leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari in politics started from my senatorial district. It was first supported by my late uncle, and it was a very welcome development, and also led by our leader, Senator Abu Ibrahim, and a lot of prominent people who supported his first bid to contest in 2003. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, President Buhari leadership was defined by his unwavering conviction and commitment to public service. He took bold steps to tackle corruption, promote economic development, and ensure national security. His dedication to the rule of law and democratic principle is a testament to his character. A champion of the common man, a unifying force, a lasting legacy, a call to action. We can assure the Nigerians what Muhammadu Buhari has done has tremendously unified most of the issues that are very important. Despite the challenges he faced, President Buhari remained a unifying force for our nation. He brought people together, fostering a sense of national unity, and forceful leadership style was marked by his humility, compassion, and a willingness to listen. As we say goodbye to President Buhari, we express our deep gratitude for his service to our nation. We pray that his legacy will continue to inspire future generations of leadership and citizens. We wish him peace in his afterlife, and we want to also commend the effort of our governor for his untiring effort to make sure that all the leaders that came to Katsina from all over the world were given a befitting reception. We hope may his soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Mohammed Ali Ndime.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. I'm Senator Mohammed Ali Ndime, representing Borno South. Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, most of our colleagues have spoken. The country has spoken. In fact, even the world has spoken about the demise of our former president. I just want to quote from the Holy Quran, and which is common Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That means, indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Allah we shall return. Mr. President, as many of us have said, was a man of integrity. Not only that, he was a very, very humble person. He was a very, very honest person. And he was also humorous. He jokes with whoever he meets. I have been privileged to be close to Mr. President even when he was a major in the Nigerian army immediately after the Civil War. Ever since, we have maintained a very close relationship. This country has actually lost a great leader, especially in the north, that he has very occultic followership. He was a very, very honest person. He gave out his 100% for this country. If this country had many of Buhari's type, would have been better off. Unfortunately, in the days of his leadership, he also believes that everybody is honest, sincere, and people of integrity. So whenever you even tell Buhari about somebody negatively, he will caution you. And he has this common Hausa quotation that Zato Zunubire, until he sees beyond reasonable doubt. That is to say, suspicion is also a sin. And therefore, if he trusts you with any responsibility or assignment, he believes that you will be as honest as he is. And that is not always the case. Looking at his life from every direction, you will see that the only lacks or lapses was this his trust belief in whoever he assigns a responsibility. Alhamdulillah, he left a good life, humble life, honest life. And Nigerians, after his death, is paying positive tribute to his life. May the Almighty Allah grant him Al-Jannah Firdaus, and as he said, which is right, that he belongs to everybody and belongs to nobody. And last Sunday, when he died, that is what he meant. He only belongs to Almighty Allah, and to him he has returned. May his soul rest in Al-Jannah Firdaus. Thank you.
Senator Kawu Sumaila.
No, a former staff. Mr. President, my dear distinguished and respected colleagues, I am Suleiman Abdurrahman Kawu Sumaila, representing Kano South Senatorial District from Kano. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, a lot has been said about our Oga. He's a great man, our former President Muhammadu Buhari. From the time where his death has announced to today, so many people comment on his strengths as a leader, more especially his attribute of leadership. We don't have nothing to add rather than to pray for him. May Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus. Although as human, most of the time, more especially leaders, and it is natural, you can make a mistake. That is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed a window where you can ask for his forgiveness, and he will use your good deed to at least bridge your weakness. Therefore, may Allah grant him Jannatul Firdausi. Allahumma gafirhu warhamhu wa'afi anhum wasin zulahum. Allahumma ja'al Jannatul Firdausi ma'awahum. Allahumma gafirhum warhamhum waja'al Jannatul Firdausi ma'awahum. Allahumma ja'al aqibatu umurina kulluha khairun birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Inna nas'aluka bi anna nashhadu annaka antallahu la ilaha illa anta al-ahadus samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahadun. Allahumma aghfir li abdika Muhammadu Buhari ar-rais Nigeria birahmatika ya arhamar rahimina ya rabbul alamin. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my dear colleague, of all what you said about this great man, which I always proud. I served under him for 4 years, and I go close to him, more especially as a formation stage of our APC, being a founding member, and President Muhammad Buhari is then a leader of CPC. When we met, he's always guiding and advising us how to have a platform that will salvage Nigeria at that current and material time. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my dear colleague, and thank you, Nigerians.
One of the newest member of the AFCC family in the Senate of the Federal Republic, Senator Fada Hunsi. You have the floor.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, there's nothing they have not said about President Buhari.
Senator Fadawusi, because we have so many people who want to speak, and yes, the time is about to end. You have 2 minutes, two minutes each.
All what I knew and we saw, I knew him both in uniform and in civilian era. President Buhari, for now, is still the most celebrated president even after death. You could see the way the state burial was arranged, which was the most elaborate and the most expensive state burial we have ever witnessed since 1960.
Not expensive.
It's most. And this included Mr. President himself and the family traveled to Katsina by air and traveled by road with his family from Katsina to Daura, which means the man is so important to Nigeria, even in death. He fought a lot of battles, particularly the bourgeois, for the masses. But unfortunately, the people he jailed in 1983 later came back in full force to frustrate most of his policies during a civilian era. But what he has done, the foundation he has laid in this country, if we followed it to the letter, automatically Nigeria will be great. I pray for him. God will allow him to rest in peace. And pray for the family. God will give them the strength to bear the fortitude. And I pray for Nigeria. Nigeria will progress further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Fadahonsi, by sticking to the time given to you, allotted to you. Thank you very much for that. Senator Sani Musa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. my distinguished colleagues, my name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. Just as my colleagues have all said, all the encomiums, eulogies, and tributes of a deserving statesman has been given to our late president. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I rise with heavy heart to also give a short tribute of the late president. I will recall with nostalgia during the heated period of 2015, my own encounter with President Buhari is deeply personal. In the 10 days leading up to the 2015 general elections, I was detained by the DSS in part for my role in introducing the permanent voters card and the card reader. That becomes central to restoring credibility to our electoral process in this country. Upon my release, President Buhari, the newly elected, reached out not as a politician, but as a father. He consoled with me in private, and all he said, you are doing a service to your nation. You should not you should not expect any gain or reward of what you have done, but remain steadfast and continue to do what you should do to your nation, what you should do to your country, and not what you should expect anyone to do to you. So that singular act have already defined to me who he is, and when he became the president of this country, he has not changed for the 8 years from who he was. He is a man of integrity. He is humble. Even outside the corridors of power, in his quest to have a peaceful life, he quietly retired to Daura, where he remained playful, humble, and reflective of the person he has always been. He was never flamboyant. He led with restraint.
Mr. Chairman, Finance.
He lived simply.
You have 1 minute remaining.
He served with a deep sense of responsibility that transcends personal ambition. Today, as we mourn his passing, let us also celebrate the values he stood for: discipline, honesty, and service. May those values live on in the way we lead and the decisions we make in this chamber. May God grant his soul eternal rest, and may his legacy continue to guide our nation. Rest in peace, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator by going with the times. Senator Suleiman Umaru, we are going to adjourn by 3. So please bear with us and confine yourself to 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Let me join my colleagues to say a word on our late president. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, everyone have said repeatedly, discipline, integrity, incorrigible, and so on. We all agree he's his brand. However, Mr. President, the perspective I want to bring to the attention of the nation is that President Buhari lived a politician life that is not known to most politicians. In other words, those who are close to him politically one of the things they criticize him with, that they are not happy about, is what I think history will judge him fairly for, which is that President Buhari has shown that he does not only live an austere lifestyle, but that he is a Democrat. President Buhari loves to give a fair, level playing ground to almost everyone. And he has demonstrated that in a lot of elections that he has supervised in this country. And when, in fact, most states are in trouble in this country, he came to Bay states, and he did that without separating states that are for his own party or states that don't belong to his party. That is President Buhari for you. And interestingly, Mr. President, he was clear about this when he won election. What did he say? He said, I belong to what? Everybody and everybody. He said it clearly and he meant it. And he tried and demonstrated all of that while he lived his life. Mr. President, I hope that all of us that are politicians, as we say today that President Buhari is this, is that, I hope we are able to, emulate him and show that kind of Spartan life in our political journeys. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Sani Zangwandura.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Nasir Sani Zangwandura. I represent Katsina North, the late President's senatorial district. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, we take comfort in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 156, which says, indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. Today we come together not only to mourn, but to commemorate the life of Baba, President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Chairman of the Nigerian Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, former Nigerian Military Head of State, former General of the Nigerian Army, former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum, former Military Governor of all Borno State, former Military Governor of Northeastern State, a husband, a father, and a grandfather. In the different positions he occupied, his performance demonstrated discipline, uncompromising integrity, resolve, and patriotism. His life was a moral and ethical compass of governance in Nigeria. In reflecting on his presidential legacy, it must be said that President Muhammad Buhari presided over a consequential period or era in Nigeria's development. Under his watch, the country witnessed the largest military equipment drive since independence, with the acquisition of advanced aircrafts, naval vessels, armored platforms, and the commissioning of Nigeria's first indigenous unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, decisively altering the nation's security posture and capacity. He transformed Nigeria's infrastructure profile, delivering new standard gauge rail lines from Abuja to Kaduna, Itakpe to Warri, and Lagos to Ibadan, and completing the long-awaited second Niger Bridge. His economic reforms entrenched fiscal discipline through the Treasury single account and modernized corporate law with the landmark Kama and Finance Acts. In agriculture and social welfare, he launched the Anchor Borrowers Program and established the National Social Investment Program, which provided direct support to millions of Nigerians. He expanded access to healthcare and tertiary education through the establishment of new teaching hospitals, universities, and polytechnics. And he acted swiftly and decisively to the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that the impact was mitigated. Perhaps most notably, he signed the PIA, which is the Petroleum Industry Act, after 2 decades of delay, restructuring Nigeria's oil sector, and enacted the Climate Change Act, affirming Nigeria's commitment to environmental stewardship.
For me, he was not only a national figure and a revered
Senator Sani, your time is all. We add 1 second to you.
1 second will not do, but I'll try and get it in until second. He was a feature of my upbringing, a source of quiet strength, and the example by which integrity was not just taught but lived. To his beloved family, his wife, children, and grandchildren, we extend our deepest sympathies. We recognize that beyond the statesman that the world revered, you have lost a husband, a father, and a grandfather, and a guiding presence. May you find strength in the dignity with which he lived, comfort in the legacy he leaves behind, and peace in the knowledge that his name will forever be etched in the chronicles of our nation's history. Our prayers are with you now and always. To our fellow Nigerians who share this loss and join us in mourning from all around the world, we thank you for the outpouring of love, respect, and solidarity you have shown. The world has witnessed how we have united in our tributes, prayers, and
your time is off.
To the Chief Steward of our cherished state, Katsina State, His Excellency Dr. Dikko Umar Radda, PhD, CON, we extend our condolences on our loss and profound gratitude to his steadfast support and dignified presence throughout this period of mourning. On behalf of our senatorial district and indeed the entire people of Katsina, I thank him for standing as both custodian and comforter during this solemn national moment. His conduct has reflected the best of Katsina values: loyalty, honor, and brotherhood. Furthermore, as we have laid our beloved former president to rest, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the exceptional dignity and honor with which he conducted this final rites.
Thank you, distinguished Senator.
The full Senate State Burial Committee. Sir, I think I should be allowed to finish this, if I may.
Well, Senator Sani, just 1 minute. We
with
give
all due respect, sir, I do need this.
Let me okay, just conclude.
Yes. I'm trying to summarize it, but then all right. Now, in conclusion, finally, to my colleagues, let us leave this chamber today renewed by his example of uncompromising integrity, disciplined in purpose, unwavering in principle, and humble in office. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him al-Jannah Firdaus. Amen.
Yes, please, excuse me, distinguished colleagues, please, let me read this rule so for our guidance. Please, and listen to me. Order 52:1. A senator shall not read his speech save for he is moving a motion or presenting a bill. 52:2. A senator may, however, read short extracts from books or papers in support of his argument and may refresh his memory by referring to notes. 3. A senator is allowed to read his speech during debate on the appropriation bill. Just for your guidance. Thank you. Senator Sani Musa.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Abubakar Sani Bello, representing Niger North. I think, Mr. President, all that needed to be said have been said with regards to our former president, late Buhari. Mr. President, I had a very rare privilege of working with him from 2015 to 2023. And he as president then, I as governor of Niger State. So all I have to say, Mr. President, he gave us all the necessary support. We keep him in prayers. I think prayer is what he needs at this moment. And we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him al-Jannah Firdaus. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. The time is all for this debate. But Senator Ozenaso, just say one word or two, because you were the organizing secretary when he was nominated. Just one or two.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. My name is Osita Ozenaso. I represent Imo West. On behalf of my constituency, we want to extend our condolences to the government and people of Nigeria, as well as government and people of Katsina State on the demise of President Muhammad Buhari. Well, I was the National Organizing Secretary of APC in 2015 when President Buhari was elected. I want to recall that before President Buhari bought his form,
His form then was only 30 million naira. President Buhari told us that he didn't have money to buy the form. And a lot of people tried to contribute money for him to buy the form, but he refused. Rather, he went to Union Bank, his bank, and took a loan to buy the form. President Buhari also made it clear that he didn't have money to prosecute presidential election. So the party took it upon ourselves to raise money from party members and supporters of President Buhari. On one of such occasions, somebody willingly donated 200 million naira. And it was a debate whether to inform President Buhari or not, but eventually he was informed that so and so person brought 200 million to support his campaign. And President Buhari said, who? They mentioned his name. He said, this man, does he have such amount of money? Wallahi, Barawo, there is a thief. Where did he get the money from?
Point of order.
So,
point of order,
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise on Order 8, Sub 3 of our rules to move for an extension of time to enable us take one or two orders of the day that we consider extremely cogent and compelling. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. Second, the motion has moved by Senate Leader for the extension of time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, distinguished Senator Zonaso, you have 10
thank you, Mr. President.
seconds.
I will not waste time at all. So, like I was saying earlier, that about somebody who donated 200 million. President Buhari was saying, who, this man that brought this money, how did he acquire the money that he's donating to the campaign? It became a problem that somebody who has given money is now being investigated, how he acquired the money. So at that point, we decided not to inform him about other people who are making donations. So that was the beginning of, I belong to no one, I belong to everyone. Because he asked us, the man that brought this money, did he make any request? In case if he will, we say no, he didn't make any request. So please tell him, if he make any request, we will not honor it because I belong to no one, but I belong to everybody. Mr. President, there is one aspect of President Buhari that people do not even know. The president that we know, President Buhari, was very humorous, extremely humorous. In fact, you can't stay with President Buhari without laughing, except if you're not very close to him. But Nigerians always see him as somebody who is strict, who is stern, looking, and all the rest of them. But if you stay with him closely, you can see that he's a man that is full of humor. Mr. President, today we mourn him as a leader who was not corrupt. I'm not sure anybody will say that President Buhari was a corrupt leader. He wasn't corrupt. He was not corrupt in any form. And people were even afraid to discuss matters that might border on corruption with him because he's not going to be interested in it. Today, Mr. President, we also mourn one of our greatest leaders. There are only two of them that have governed this country as military head of state and as civilian president. Only two of them. And it is a rare privilege for somebody to have such opportunity in a country of over 200 million persons. So, Mr. President, I want to end by saying that history will remember him as a man who came, who saw, and also delivered. And at the end of the day, our prayers that God Almighty will grant him eternal rest. Thank you.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, we have a condolence register open for him. And I think 40-something senators have signed. So others could also do so. So we'll present it to the family later. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Can we now go into the prayers? Prayer 1. observe a minute silence in his honor. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Commend the federal government of Nigeria for a very befitting state funeral accorded late President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Thank the federal government of Nigeria for immortalizing him by naming the University of Maiduguri after him. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. May we now rise for the condolence message. For the 1 minute silence. May the soul of our late President, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, who labored for Nigeria as military head of state and as civilian president for 8 years, rest in perfect peace. I must thank all members for their contributions. And just like prayers can never be too much. And therefore, condolences can never be too much. The nation will continue to miss the dead president for years to come and for generations to come. And I hope we have done enough, but I don't think we will stop honoring him so long as Nigeria exists. His name will continue to reverberate through the nooks and crannies of this nation. May Almighty Allah accept his soul in paradise. Amen. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. The second order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the 2025 budget of the Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Abdullahi Yahya Abubakar, former leader of this Senate, to move the motion for the Senate to receive and consider the report of the committee.
Distinguished Senator Abdullahi.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move the motion for this distinguished chamber to receive and consider the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the 2025 budget of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Odende. Distinguished Senator Olamilekon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adeola Solomon Olamilekon, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Abdullah that this Senate do consider its report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support that this report be presented to the Senate now for consideration, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished Senator Yahya, please, you may wish to lay your report and then give us a summary so we can move on. What is the recommendation of the committee? I've seen you've done a fantastic job here.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This report is a harmonized version of both the report of our committee and the committee of finance of the House of Representatives, where the two committees are the ones that are overseeing the activities of revenue mobilization, allocation, and fiscal commission. It is important to note that this is a constitutional commission which has, since its creation by the Constitution, suffered a lot of neglect, wasn't able to conduct its constitutional responsibilities because of the shortage of funds. Recently, Mr. President approved their act, which we amended in this chamber, that since it's a constitutional body and it's a body that serves both the federal government and the states, its funding should come from the federation account. So they fixed it on that account, and the National Economic Council met and allocated 0.5% of non-oil revenue of the federation to the commission. It is in this wise that we are asking the Senate to approve the budget for 2025 of 105 billion 140 million 926,744 naira 8 kobo only as his budget. On paragraph 2, you will see the different breakdown of the budget: personnel costs, overhead costs, recurrent costs, capital costs. The capital costs you could see and the personnel costs are quite high, particularly because of the years of neglect, whereby the Commission could not even operate in all the 36 states of the Federation, in spite of the fact that all the states of the Federation are represented in the Commission. Recommendation. The committee, having critically considered 2025 budget, that the two committees, considered 2025 budget proposals of the Commission and convinced of the merit of the provisions, do recommend that the Senate considers and approve the provisions as contained in the report, which is harmonized with the House of Representatives, which has already passed this budget yesterday. The total personnel cost is 20,636,277,973. Overhead cost is also presented. Capital cost, total allocation is 105,140,926,744.08 kobo. On behalf of this committee, I want to thank Mr. President and the leadership of the Senate and the entire members of this chamber for the support that we received as a committee in processing this report. I thank you and God bless you all.
Any comments? No comment. So let's look at the recommendation. Those in support of the recommendation as stated herein say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the budget of Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission in the sum of 105 billion 140 million 926,744 naira 8 kobo is hereby approved. Leader of the Senate. Next item.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues. Well, Mr. President, distinguished Senator Orji Uzor Kalu is trying to give a lead as to what he believes is the mood of the Senate. But if I understood you correctly, Mr. President, as the presiding officer, I know the mood of the Senate, as understood by you, is that we take the next order of the day.
Because of our schedule, just report of the Committee on South-South Development Commission.
And it's just a single item. So, in that wise, and without prejudice to distinguished Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, I say the third order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on South-South Development Commission on the confirmation of the nomination of Senator Tijani Yahaya Kara for appointment as member representing the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the Governing Board of the South-South Development Commission. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Kombowe Benson Friday, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Senator Asuku
I understand that distinguished Senator Asuku
will do it on his behalf.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Asuku Ekpenyong, Senator representing Cross River South. I rise before the Senate to lay the report of the Senate Committee on South-South Development Commission on the screening of Senator Tijani Kara as member representing the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the Governing Board of the South-South Development Commission. I so move.
Senator Amos Johanna.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Amos Johanna Adamo North. I rise to second the motion that the report of the Committee on South-South Development Commission be laid and considered. I so second. Thank you.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. Can Asukwa lead the report on behalf of Kombowe?
Mr. President, the nominee was invited to introduce himself and respond to questions regarding his educational background. After a thorough screening exercise, the committee observed that the nominee is not only a former minister and senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but also possesses the requisite academic and professional qualifications as stipulated in Section 13 of the South-South Development Commission Act, and is therefore considered suitable and fit to serve as a member of the governing board of the commission. In view of the above findings, the committee finds the nominee suitable and accordingly recommends that the Senate do confirm the nominee, Mr. Tijani Yahaya Kara, for appointment as a member of the governing board of the South-South Development Commission in order to bring the membership of the commission to its full complement. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the Senate Committee on South-South Development Commission, I wish to announce again and express my sincere appreciation for the opportunity to serve in this regard. Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues.
Leader of the Senate, DSP.
Mr. President, the nominee was a colleague here. I didn't know why he went through all those screening. He should have been especially given the note. He was my deputy, and he chaired Committee on Federal Character. And so he was one of us here. So it was an aberration to allow him to go through that process. So, Mr. President, we should guard against this in the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, leader of the Senate, you may wish that we go into committee of the whole to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate resolve to committee of the whole for further consideration of this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I like to second the motion as moved by the Senate leader. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we go into committee of the whole. Membership of the North of the South Development Commission. The nominee from Northwest. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Senator Tijani Yahaya Kaura for appointment as member representing Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the governing board of the South Development Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The appointment of Senator Tijani Yahaya Kaura as a member of the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the governing board of the South Development Commission is hereby approved. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that we go back to plenary for chair to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We revert to plenary for the chair to report progress. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on South Development Commission on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as member representing the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the governing board of the South Development Commission and approved the nomination of Senator Tijani Yahaya Kaura as member representing the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the governing board of the South Development Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Senator Tijani Yahaya Kaura for appointment as member representing the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the governing board of the South Development Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Senator Tijani Yahaya Kaura is hereby confirmed as member representing the Northwest Geopolitical Zone in the governing board of the South Development Commission. Let me thank the South Development Commission Senate Committee for the expeditious manner in which they did this screening and confirmation, and also to appreciate the Deputy Senate President for his observation that being a ranking member of this August assembly, that he ought to have been treated with a little bit of preferential treatment. So we will not apologize for it, but it's better to, what is worth doing is worth doing well, and it's good that we have done it, and you can see the speedy manner in which he was cleared because he's overqualified for even that membership. So we thank all of you and thank the distinguished senators for their contributions. And congratulate very distinguished Senator Kaura for his nomination and hope that it will bring value to the South-South Development Commission. I thank you all. In the absence of any other, you have you done it? Yeah, point of order.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I'm rising on a constitutional point of order. And this is important so that as the leader of this Senate, no one would accuse me someday of not having performed my role or upheld the Constitution that we all swore to uphold. My point of order, Mr. President, is Section 63 of our Constitution, 1999 Constitution as amended. And the essence of this point of order, Mr. President, is to say that this Senate is not ripe for an annual vacation as being proposed that will close tomorrow. With your permission, Mr. President, I would like to read Section 63 as well as Section 53 of our Constitution. Mr. President, if I have your permission. Mr. President.
The Senator.
Yes, sir.
You may wish to approach the chair.
Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, we will shortly after the adjournment we'll have a closed door meeting because of events that are happening tomorrow. For instance, the APC NEC meeting and others. So we'll just have a closed door meeting, but after the adjournment. So the leader of the Senate, please move a motion for us to step down any other item on the order paper, and thereafter we adjourn, but we sit down to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that we do suspend the other items that we have on the order paper for today till another legislative day, and that after the adjournment, we all still go into a closed door session for some house clearing discussion. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I like to second the two motions moved by the Senate Leader. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the Senate is hereby adjourned to Thursday, the 24th day of July, 2025 at 11 a.m. prompt. However, the press will leave us so that we can have a few house clearing issues. Adjourned to Thursday, 24th day of July.